What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop. So park your ass right there. Today, I got something special, a cult classic horror film by the name of Amsterdam. This movie is a Dutch film from 1988, directed by Dick Maas. No homo. All right, so when I first heard about this film, the only reason I even know about this film is because I'm a part of many Facebook groups that talk about horror, right? Especially like cult classic, bad films, all kinds of things. You name it, right? And in this group, somebody drops this poster of this film called Amsterdam. Automatically, the title got me in. I'm like, Amsterdam, that sounds like a pretty clever title, right? It's a pun on Amsterdam. And I'm like, okay, so what's this movie about? So I look at the cover or the poster of it, and I see it's a damn scuba diver. So automatically, I'm like, motherfucker, I'm in. Because I've never in my life seen a slasher film, with a scuba diver in it. And I'm just like, you know what? I have to see this movie. So I'm preparing myself, thinking it's going to be bad. I'm thinking it's going to be like a Scooby-Doo-esque villain where the killer or the villain has nothing to do with anything, and he's just wearing some random costume that he found in order to scare people, right? And also I'm thinking to myself, man, it's going to be stupid. Like, it's going to be a scuba diver just breaking into houses, kicking down doors, and boom, freaking flippers hitting the floor, like, and then he's going to be breathing like on some Darth Vader stuff. So that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting the most stupidest, the dumbest plot point ever. I'm really thinking it's going to be a dude running around in a freaking scuba suit killing people, right? Just breaking into homes and stabbing people, because that's usually what horror movies do. Boy, was I wrong. So this movie was set in Amsterdam, and in Amsterdam, they have plenty of canals there. So there's a lot of water. There's a lot of waterways. So the idea is that this killer maneuvers through these waterways, and he's killing people. So I'm like, okay, well, that's completely different. I didn't really expect that. So this film follows a detective trying to investigate these murders that have been transpiring by the canals, and they feel like it has something to do with the canals. The killer must be using the canals in order to get to these people, right? Because there's people, everybody that's found is by the canals, right? And so that's like briefly a synopsis of it. The detective is trying to find this killer and try to stop him before he keeps on killing, right? So what do I think about the film? Let's talk about the good. All right, the killer. Honestly, that is the most original idea that I've come across in a slasher film. Now, I've seen some stupid slasher films like Pieces, where you have a killer killing people on a college campus in broad daylight with a chainsaw. And for some reason, nobody's able to capture this guy. That's a stupid film, right? But this film actually takes itself seriously enough to be like, okay, we're not just going to have this dude just randomly killing people. We're going to try to make these kills make sense, right? That was another thing that I liked about the film. They tried to make the kills make sense. It's not like, okay, he killed somebody on top of this building, but yet he's waterbound, right? He's not just popping up out of the toilet bowl, stabbing people in the ass while they dookie, right? It's not like that. This dude is really, everybody that he kills is next to the canals, right? It has something to do with the waterways in Amsterdam, which is very interesting. The killer himself, I've never seen a scuba diver killer, dude. Honestly, like the whole attire, the scuba attire, tank on the back, man has a little the water hunting knife or whatever, or the knife that they use to cut rope or whatever it is. He has that, right? So the movie itself is the killer and the way that he kills is very, very interesting, right? It takes itself very seriously in that regard, right? Now, this movie also has some pretty dang incredible stunts with a pretty badass boat chasing scene, I might add. There is a random, and I mean random, boat chasing scene in this film that lasts at least 5 minutes, right? And this damn boat chasing scene is freaking amazing, dude. Watching them wreck that waterway and jumping and swerving and doing all that stuff in boats in the 1980s is amazing. The stunts in this movie were amazing. That one scene, hands down, I've never seen a boat chasing scene quite like that. That movie was tight. All right. I mean, that boat chasing scene was tight. Like, I've never seen anything like that. Now, in regards to other good things about this film, the soundtrack goes with it pretty well. It's not something that stands out to you as an amazing soundtrack. Boy, I gotta buy that soundtrack. It has that 80s Moogish synth-like feel throughout the film, and it plays this really good background music to it. It's not one of those things where it's like it throws the scene off, like how in The Joker, where he's going down the staircase and they randomly play that one song that throws every damn thing off, because to me, that scene and that song didn't work together. The music that they choose to use in this film, it works with it. It doesn't throw the scene off. It adds to it. It doesn't really take anything away from it, and I can really appreciate that. Now, the bad in this film. This film is originally a Dutch film, and it's been dubbed in English, so some people might find that the timing may be off, and also maybe some of their mannerisms might be a little bit off. But at the same time, like, to me, it doesn't bother me because, like I said, I've seen dubbed films. I've watched dubbed anime. It doesn't really bother me. But for some people, the timing of maybe the words and the movement and the mannerism or the words, it just might throw you off. So you might not like that. That might be something that you might consider bad. Another thing that I consider bad is that the backstories of the characters aren't really relevant to the story. So they give kind of brief backstories about characters in the film, and it's like, to me, it doesn't really play an integral part to the story. Like, it's not really necessary for me to know this information because it doesn't play any importance to the storyline. It doesn't. It's not really that important. So you're kind of thinking like, okay, that's a cool backstory, and thanks for the information, but does it play any importance in what I'm watching, right? The answer is no. So the last part, the atrociousness. Some things in this film may be a bit illogical. Like, if you're looking at it from a logical sense, like, there's one scene where the guy gets out of the canals in order to kill somebody, right? Logically, wouldn't you hear somebody behind you with freaking flippers on, like scuba flippers on, walking towards you? Like, I feel like I would be able to hear that walking towards me from behind. Like, I feel like that would be a red flag. Maybe even the breathing. You might even hear the freaking breathing. I don't know if he takes I forgot if he takes a mask, a little mouthpiece off when he kills people. But anyway, to the point, that part, to me, that scene was illogical to me. That was a little bit illogical, right? Another thing is the detectives make boneheaded moves to allow the killer to escape for the sake of story. Now, we've had this in films where it seems like, man, here it is, right here, they got him. There's no way that this person can get out. This is it. It's over. And if somehow, some way, this person finds a way to get out of it, right? It's like watching Halloween. When you watch Halloween and you're like, there's no way this dude just escaped this mine shaft and they threw dynamite in it. It's a wrap. Michael Myers is dead. And then they go to the next movie, and it turns out this dude done crawled out of a hole that was randomly left in a mine shed before it blew up. Like, come on, bro. Come on, man. Come on. Are you playing us now? So in this film, it has something not similar to that, but it has like detectives making stupid moves in order to allow the killer to escape to make the story continue, right? I mean, granted, the scenes that follow it are pretty cool, so it's kind of worth it. But as far as like when you're watching it, you're kind of like, dude, you could have just kind of caught the guy and just be done with it, right? So overall, what do I give this film? Personally, on some biased stuff, I really enjoyed this film. But if I'm really looking at it from a movie standpoint, horror man standpoint, I feel like the fairest grade that I can give this film is a 3 out of 5, right? The movie is fun to watch. It has a very interesting killer, very interesting kills. The concept of it is really great. The music follows it well. But some of the hits to the story are kind of like, I mean, it could be this isn't some movie that I can expect people to view a bunch of times over, right? Like, the only reason I watch it, like I said, is because I ran across it in a horror group that I'm in, and then it just so happened to be on Shudder. I was trying to find another way, that black market way to watch this film, but I ended up finding a way to. It ended up being on Shudder, and I didn't have to do that. So I was just like, okay, I'm in. Son of a bitch, I'm in. So I watched it, and honestly, I really enjoyed this film. It was fun to watch. The kills are amazing. The killer is interesting. I honestly believe that this is a movie that can be remade and make a very interesting film in these coming years. I honestly think maybe they should take a look at it. But that's my review. You are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. So go ahead and hit that like button, that subscribe button. And until next time, I will see you later. Adios.